Have you ever heard of someone falling in love with a bridge, a monument, a statue, or even something as ordinary as a piece of furniture or a favorite sweater? It might sound strange, but for some, these bonds are deeply emotional, even romantic. In this episode, we'll explore the world of objectum sexuality and the profound, often misunderstood connections that some individuals form with the inanimate. Join us as we discuss the stories of those who have given their hearts not to people, but to objects. Hello, friends and family. Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Bazaar. I'm Jessica.
I'm Montana.
And if you're new here, hi, welcome. We've been waiting.
I was waiting for you to do something creepy.
I kind of like that. I think I might do that every time now. Your thing.
What, being two creepy girls?
Yeah. I mean, it comes naturally.
You ain't wrong, sister.
So how are you?
Oh, I'm okay. Just
living the dream?
Yeah. Just life right now.
Life.
Just dealing with some stuff, that's all.
We're always so freaking cryptic on here that people are like, why don't you tell us what's happening?
I know.
Someday.
Someday soon. Let everyone know what's going on.
Yeah. Any weird happenings to report? Synchronicities? Ghosts?
No, I think I'm weird free.
Yeah.
Actually, so when we watch TV, sometimes our Roku decides to just pause itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's weird. And then we were watching TV the other day, and then our Xbox just turned on by itself. So that's probably the weirdest thing I have. Like, me and Ryan just look at each other and we're like, it's not weird at all. So I was like, hey, if there is a spirit that turned it on, can you turn the Xbox off, please? And they didn't do it.
I have had some weird shit, but it's like half of it I can't remember because, again, my brain is just fried. But it's been with Tony and I watch stuff every evening together. We watch episodes of series and whatnot, and we were watching the show that I was talking about last week, The Outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, there were so many synchronicities between us and that show that just kept happening over and over and over again. And I wish I could think of a specific detail, but it was just like things from our past or things, I don't know. It was just connection. Like we could connect everything and it was wild. And then
like you and him?
Both of us with the show, and we would like say it at the same exact time, and he's like, get out of my head, woman. Like it was happening that much. It was so weird.
Wow.
Like things would trigger specific memories for us at the same time. Like, it just kept happening over and over and over again. And then we finished the series, which, by the way, it didn't end strong, which was kind of a bummer because I really liked it. But anyway, so we started a new show, which we're watching Hannibal now. And the synchronicities kept like carried over from the other show. Like there was something that happened in The Outsider that happened in Hannibal. And we just looked at each other at the same time again. And we're like, what is going on? What is the universe trying to tell us right now?
Yeah, but does Tony believe in that stuff?
I mean, not like we do, but it's when it's like that, it's undeniable. He does. I think. I don't want to speak for him because I'm not entirely sure, but he's much less kooky than we are. He's
We're altogether
very
kooky.
practical. He always thinks there's an explanation for everything, but it was happening so much that we're like, what in the hell is going on here? Wild.
Tony would be the dad in the horror movie where the family moves in and like everything starts happening to the mom. And her husband's like, no, you're just stressed out. You just had a
Mhm.
baby. Like every excuse in the book. And it doesn't happen to like the last moment where it affects him. And he's like, we gotta move.
Yeah. And I'd be the
That would be
one
Tony.
that saves everyone because I was prepared and knew shit was going to go down. It was like
Like, I warned you.
It's like the time that we had those people prank us at our house where there was a dude at the front of the house and a dude at the back of the house. And it was like 2:00 in the morning. Scariest shit ever. And Kira was looking at the back door with her hair standing straight up. And there was a dude just standing there. And then I looked back and I was at the back of the house and the front doorbell rings. So I knew it was two people. And I'm sure I've talked about this on here before, and it called the cops and everything. And they went through the neighborhood a few times to see what the hell was going on. They never did figure out what it was. But guess who stayed downstairs with a baseball bat? Me.
You.
And Tony's like, I'm going to bed. So yeah, I'll be the savior. That's for sure.
Wow.
I know. He'll kill me for saying this, but hey, it's the truth.
One of you's got to be the man of the family.
Oh, God. So, yeah, just synchronicity stuff, working more. That's about it. My car sounds like it's so hilarious how it sounds. I didn't take it to the shop yet, but Tony did look at it, and I think my muffler it's come loose or something. So it just needs reattached, but it's like it's hilarious.
I don't know cars. I don't think that's a terrible fix.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too bad. And everything else seems fine. It sounds hilarious, like a cartoon car. Even you said something. You're like, why is your car so loud? Like, I don't know.
Because you started it the other day, and then I slowly look over, and I'm like, what the fuck is up with your car?
It's old. It's so old. It knows that I'm about to replace it. It's getting angry. She's getting mad.
Hey, I get it.
Yeah, she's still going to be in the family, though. She'll be okay. So, are you ready to get into the subject of the day?
Yeah, I just found out like 5 minutes before we started recording what it was.
Yeah, I've been working on something else. Well, I started working on it, and it's just been so hectic in my brain that it's hard to focus. So I had to kind of pivot to something else. And I don't even remember what made me remember this, but I decided I was going to go with, and I didn't know what it was called at the time. I just knew it was when people fall in love with or have relationships with objects, like of really any kind. And it's kind of fascinating. And the more that I learned about it, like it's just these people genuinely feel for these things. And it's just something I wanted to learn more about and share on our podcast. So here we are. And they're called Objectophiles. So there's a new term for you.
Yeah, not here to kink shame.
Well, I bring that up very early on.
Okay. As long as you're, everything consent.
Exactly.
You do.
Yeah, I'll read that part of my script right now before we even start. So I typed this up actually after I had written the whole thing. I'm like, I've got to put this out there first because I don't want people getting hurt or offended or anything. But I said, before we dive in today's episode, I want to take a moment to be clear. This discussion comes from a place of genuine curiosity and respect. I'm not here to mock, judge, or shame anyone whose experiences differ from my own. That said, this topic truly captivated me because it's so far outside the realm of what I've personally known. And that contrast is exactly what drew me in. I wanted to understand it more deeply, to explore what it means, and to share that exploration with you guys. So with that said, you know our true intentions here. And you do you, boo. As long as everybody's safe and it's consensual. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
Have you ever heard of someone being romantically attracted to a bridge, a monument, a statue, or even a household object like a piece of clothing or furniture?
Yes.
Me too. It might be surprising, but for some people, these connections with objects are very real and very strong. This experience is known as objectum sexuality, and they are referred to as objectophiles. So the term objectum sexuality refers to falling for an object. These feelings can come out of emotional, psychological, or sexual concerns for an object. People who are in deep love with objects are known as objectum sexuals or objectophiles. All right. So the term came into existence in the early 1970s. And I guess this is like the first known objectophile.
Well, that even hasn't been around that long then.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they have. It's just not, people have
They
probably kept it.
Gave it a name or something.
Yeah. And people were probably very private about it because I'm sure they thought nobody's going to accept this. So, yeah, the early 1970s when a woman named Ija, it's Eija, I think it's Ija Ritta, married the Berlin Wall. She changed her name to Ija Ritta Eckloff Berliner Mauer, where her surname refers to the Berlin Wall. So she took the wall's name. And this is something that's common. Like when people fall in love with these objects and they have ceremonies and take their name, the name of the object, and add it to their own.
I was about to say, did she have an actual ceremony?
As far as I know, yeah. And a lot of these people do actually have ceremonies. She considered the Berlin Wall her husband and referred to it as him. Ija Ritta was born in 1954 in a small Swedish town called Liden. So she was young. She was super young when this happened. Mm-hmm. Even as a child, she wasn't like others. Where other little girls were doodling hearts around pop stars, she was mesmerized by parallel horizontal lines, fences, bridges, railroad tracks. She described them as beautiful, comforting, and sensual. But everything changed the day she saw the Berlin Wall on television. She was 7 years old, and in her own words, it was love at first sight. She called it the sexiest structure to ever exist.
Wow.
From that moment on, the wall became the center of her life. She started collecting photographs, studying its angles and features, dreaming of one day being close to it, and eventually one day being with it. And she was. On her 6th trip to Berlin in June of 1979, Ija Ritta held a marriage ceremony. Her guests were a handful of close friends, her beloved wall, and a spiritualist she'd hired to communicate the wall's consent. She wore black, which I thought was interesting. And she legally changed her name to Ija Ritta Berliner Mauer being the German name for the Berlin Wall. She referred to the wall as he, spoke of their intimate connection, and made it clear she had never been with a human partner. To her, the wall was alive, not just stone and wire, but a being with a soul. And that's a very common thing too. Like they believe that these things have souls.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can kind of relate to, because just like I was talking about my car, I call it a she, you know? So it's like not difficult to imagine that this can happen, I guess. Okay.
I haven't determined a gender for my car yet. Maybe they don't have one. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. The wall was someone who could feel her love and love her back. She once said, quote, "It's not just pleasuring myself. I want to please my partner when we make love," which I'm wondering how that happened. Because I didn't.
Yeah, that one's a little tricky. I have a hard time picturing.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot harder for a female to
Right.
make love to a wall.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, it's in public. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
like, how did that work? I don't know.
And the wall was also very huge.
Mm-hmm.
It went on for a long time.
Yeah. But everything she loved, eventually, as we all know, was torn down. On November 9th, 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. To most, it symbolized freedom. To Aija, it was devastation. She wept. "They mutilated my husband," she said. "They murdered him." And those are her quotes, by the way. And then she had never returned after that to Berlin. It was probably just too painful for her.
So she probably just saw him as like dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad, actually.
I know. Instead, she turned her home in Sweden into a museum of sorts, a sanctuary for her grief. Inside, she kept scale models of the wall, other fences, and even guillotines. I don't know if you say guillotines or guillotines. I always say guillotine, which she claimed fascinated her in a similar way. In time, she found comfort in one of her wall models, and he became her new partner, but she never stopped mourning the original wall. In life, Aija was often mocked, dismissed as mentally ill, or ridiculed for her beliefs. But she was also a trailblazer. She was the first person to publicly identify as objectum-sexual, a term she helped define. And she inspired others like Erika Eifel, who would later marry the Eiffel Tower, and credit Aija Rita as her role model. So Aija, I guess her story was captured in the 2008 documentary Berlin Marin, which was by artist Lars Lahmann, which I did not watch, but I guess her story's there if you're interested.
I mean, the Berlin Wall is actually cool. What's left of it? It's like they have a lot of murals painted on it, and it's like a lot of graffiti.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't at least go back for that. But
I know, and Berlin's a cool city.
So you say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So after her passing in 2015, and I guess she died in a tragic house fire, which that's awful.
Oh.
Her name lived on in academic circles, news reports, and the hearts of others like her, people who believe love doesn't have to look the way we expect. When it comes to knowing about where this love of objects comes from, there's very limited knowledge and research present all over the internet. And I got most of my diving into the psychological aspect of it from a website called Allo Health. They had an article that was written by a doctor, and she was giving her opinions. I remember her name. I say it later on. I have it written in here somewhere. So yeah, there's very little knowledge and research present all over the internet. Many experts are still exploring how and why these strong emotional and romantic feelings toward objects develop. But from what is known so far, objectum sexuality seems to be connected to two main areas: neurological traits, which is how a person's brain processes emotions, senses, and relationships, and psychological experiences, things someone has gone through in life, like social struggles, trauma, or emotional needs. There are 2 neurological traits and determinants that have been held responsible for this tendency of some people to form relationships with objects. These include autism and synesthesia. There may be following reasons for this. And again, this is all really still speculation, it seems like they're just trying to connect the dots here. The difficulties faced by autistic people to socialize may be a contributing factor for them forming connections with the objects rather than people. Autistic people see and feel objects more intensely in terms of their features like shape, texture, and color. This can be the reason for them being more attracted towards the objects. While autism has become an important determinant of objectophiles, it does not mean that every autistic person is an objectophile.
Mm-hmm.
And then synesthesia, which I'd never heard of before.
No, me neither.
Is a neurological condition where 2 or multiple senses start working at the same time. It causes sensory crossovers, such as tasting colors or feeling sounds. That is fascinating.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Some people describe it as having wires crossed in their brain because it activates 2 or more senses when there's only a reason for one sense to activate. It can be seen when people hear something and they perceive something else. Synesthesia affects 2 to 4% of the population.
It's not a big percentage at all.
Yeah. It's probably why I'd never heard about it before.
Mm-hmm.
The same study that found autism as a trait in objectophiles concluded the same for synesthesia. People with synesthesia perceive and treat objects as humans, and they may assign gender or personality traits to the objects they love, which seems to happen with every story I've seen.
I wonder if also, too, people like hoarders, I wonder if they have some type of that, because I know sometimes when people can't throw things away because they have feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like the objects have feelings, and so that's why it's hard for them to throw things away. And I get like also attachments too. They have attachments to these things.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
But it's very hard to let them go.
Yeah. It made me stop and think a little bit when I was looking into what synesthesia is. And I don't know how much you know about Jeffrey Dahmer, but I was wondering if maybe he kind of had that too. Because, I mean, yes, he was a necrophiliac, but in a way, once a body is deceased, it kind of is just an object. And leading up to that, he took that mannequin and wanted to be with the mannequin. And then even before that, like he was attracted to like slimy things, like fish, or I don't know, like just shiny, anything shiny or that looked wet. And I'm like, I wonder if that was kind of similar, like if he did have that on top of all the other,
I mean,
neurological stuff he had going on.
And I think he also had abandonment issues.
Yeah.
Because his mom wasn't very active in his life. And I think,
mm-hmm.
his dad left him alone a lot. And so that probably contributed to all the above.
Yeah. Which they say, trauma can lead to this. Trauma can lead to so many things, really.
I like how the other day you texted me when you were getting Dom's hair done and you're like, oh my God, Jeffrey Dahmer just walked in. And I was like, well, it's a good thing you're not his type. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. It was, I try not to be judgy.
Dom, on the other hand.
Yeah, I try not to be judgy. And I mean, his appearance was striking. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. But then he said something to like the chick at the register, and that's when I really got creeped out. It's like, oh my gosh.
The Coke bottle glasses, I see more and more people wearing the Coke bottle glasses. Like the thick, big frames
Yeah.
definitely have made a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, they have.
I remember my dad's were so huge and thick. My dad's name is also Jeffrey, which does not help. But those, I remember to this day, they were like so big.
Yeah. Tony is scarred for life from that because he wore those kind of glasses when he was little and was bullied for it. And he
Oh,
like refuses to wear glasses of any kind. And
does he actually need them? Does he wear contacts
yeah.
then? Okay.
He and Dominic both are so blind. They can't see anything without their corrective lenses. But yeah, he I think is very traumatized by that. But he
Oh,
was
that's
so cute. Like the glasses were so big and thick. Aw. But I get it.
I do. That sucks. I mean, like I said, glasses are becoming very popular now. People just get them for like fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it could be like PTSD from.
All my glasses are huge. I just can't wear them on here because it reflects the screen and you can't see anything but like a big reflection. So I take them off.
Also, if you're watching YouTube, you can't see her on here, but your bangs, when they do a certain way, they're giving me Beetlejuice Winona Ryder vibes.
It's because they're greasy and they look like spikes.
Like when you first started talking, how you had him like really spaced out, how like Winona, you know what I'm
I
talking
did
about?
not do that. It just does it on its own.
I was
But
like,
yeah,
that is definitely Winona Ryder vibes from Beetlejuice.
yeah. Yeah, I keep pushing them to the side so they won't do that, but they're just doing their own thing today.
Well, when I was thinking it, you literally like read my mind and moved your bangs. In the second, I was like, oh, apparently she can hear what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just let them do their thing, I guess.
Do what you gotta do.
All right. So now we're going to talk about this other lady who was inspired by Aja, and her name is Erica. Yeah, her name was Erica, and she had sexual feelings for the Eiffel Tower and actually ended up marrying it. So when Aja Rita Berliner Mauer married the Berlin Wall in 1979, she was one of a kind, unseen, misunderstood, and alone in her world of love for objects. But that would change because across the ocean, another woman would hear her story and felt she could relate to Aja, and her name was Erica Eifel. A former member of the United States Air Force, Erica, her original name was Labrie.
I figured that wasn't her original.
Yeah, she later took the surname Eiffel, found herself drawn to strength, symmetry, and precision. And that's something I noticed with all these people is it seems like they started with other objects that didn't end up being like the ultimate thing that they were were drawn to or attracted to.
Well, they're both huge things. I feel like that's hard to stay in a relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah, I found some videos on some of this and it was really interesting to see how these people would interact with the objects of their affection.
Do they make out with it and stuff?
Yes.
Oh, you know how dirty. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of germs, lots of dirt.
I will say though, the Eiffel Tower is very beautiful at night.
Oh, I bet.
It lights up.
So, yes, Erica was drawn to strength, symmetry, and precision, not in people, but in objects. Her first great love wasn't the Eiffel Tower, it was Lance, her competition bow. An elite archer, Erica formed a powerful, emotional, and romantic bond with her bow, attributing her competition success to the strength of that relationship. She would go on to win a gold medal at the 2007 World Archery Cup, with Lance by her side. But it was in Paris, standing beneath the iron lattice of the Eiffel Tower, that she felt something deeper. She described feeling safe, understood, and drawn in, as if the tower called to her. And that's something, one of the videos I watched was a lady I'm going to talk about a little later, and she was saying that they feel the energy of these things. Like they can feel the energy coming off of them and the connection that they have with them. So,
I mean, that's definitely an extreme to the next, like your bow and going all the way, something as huge as the Eiffel Tower. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the same year, she held a commitment ceremony at the base of the Eiffel Tower, and took it as her surname, officially becoming Erica Eifel. Long before the ceremony in Paris, Erica had discovered Aja's story, the woman who married the Berlin Wall, and she felt an overwhelming sense of connection to her. Not just because they loved objects, but because Aja had shown it was okay to speak those feelings aloud. Quote, she gave us a language to understand ourselves, unquote, Erica would later say in interviews. It was Aja who coined the term objectum sexuality, a romantic and emotional orientation toward objects not born of fetish or fantasy, but of deep, heartfelt connection. And inspired by Aja, Erica would go on to found OS International, which Objectum Sexuality International, an online community for people who identify with this orientation. So it creates a safe space, place for love without judgment. And I guess the community is quite small, still to this day, but it is there.
I can see
Gotta
that.
get my
Winona
Ryder bangs under control again. All right. So Erica has never shied away from the spotlight. She's appeared on television and documentaries and in international press, fiercely defending her right to love how she loves. And I think this was the first of these stories I'd ever heard of. Way back in the day, I don't know if it was on, I don't know what it was on. It was a documentary that she was on, and I guess she would get removed from the Eiffel Tower because she was there so much and being, caressing it and hugging on it, and they were like, you can't be doing this. It's disruptive. People think it's weird.
I mean, that I
go.
get. I do understand that.
Yeah. So she said, quote, my partner is not human, but my love is real, unquote. Just like Aja before her, Erica faced ridicule, skepticism, and sensationalism, but also curiosity, which is why we're here today. And for some, understanding. Besides neurological factors, some psychological determinants for objectum sexuality have also been studied. These may include social isolation, childhood traumas, fear of rejection, and gender discrimination. So people who are shy, have very few social interactions, and they lack interest in social activities. So instead of humans, they prefer making deep connections with objects, which I can get that.
I completely understand that.
Yeah. Fear of rejection in relationships is another possible reason for this. So some people who are so afraid and tired of arguments, fights, and rejection in relationships excuse me, prefer developing connections with objects over humans. They can't hurt you back. They can't yell at you. And then child and sexual traumas. Incidents that happen during childhood can have a long-lasting impact on a person's personality. It has been found out that some objectophiles have suffered from sexual and childhood traumas, which play a role in their personality development. However, there's very limited research on this, and more study is needed. But I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, it all makes sense.
They feel safe.
Like, I don't understand it, but I understand it at the same time. They latch on. Yeah, they latch on to something that makes them feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So now we're going to move on to another lady
I love how
who
these are all women.
we'll get to some men too. Don't worry. So this is the story of Linda Ducharme. Probably not saying that right. And Bruce, a tilt-a-whirl carnival ride.
Oh.
It was the early 1980s. I find it interesting how a lot of these people, what they fall in love with is enormous. Like it's these
Yeah.
huge structures. I wonder if it's just like because they feel the energy and the energy from these enormous things are so strong. Maybe that's what makes them feel safe. I don't know.
Couldn't tell you. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah. Okay. It was the early 1980s when Linda, a Florida woman, first laid eyes on the ride. She
Okay, well now this makes sense.
I knew you were going to say something about that.
Sorry, every time I can diss Florida, I'm going to. I'm sorry,
Florida.
Floridians. It's Florida, man.
Florida, man. She didn't see machinery. She saw a presence, a soul, which seems to be a common theme among the Objectum community. Bruce, as she affectionately named him, wasn't just a thrill ride to her. He was charismatic, strong, a protector. And from that moment, she sat in his curved red seat. She felt something awaken in her. And in case I don't know that I was clear about this, it's like a huge Ferris wheel type thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't like heights.
I never used to be bothered by them, but as I get older, they creep me out.
Yeah, when I hit my 30s,
Yeah. This kind of thing would never work for me because even from a little girl, I've been afraid of tall things. Like cuz get this feeling that they're going to fall on me or something. So I
Well, I
could
wonder if like they get jealous when other people are like on the rides, like touching
Mm.
them. Like
I
just
never
makes me
saw anything
wonder.
about that, but I bet they did. Oh, actually I did. One of the guys that I talk about later. I'll bring that up again. Mental note. Put a pin in it.
Yeah, that's just very. Be like, you can't ride my Ferris wheel.
Yeah, get out of my seat. So, yeah, she felt something awaken in her from the moment she sat in that seat, baby.
Orgasm?
Probably. So that sensation only deepened with time. But I will say, and I know we keep stopping, and I'm sorry about that, but we gotta talk about this. Some of these people don't feel sexual desires towards, like they may kiss and caress the things, but that's enough for them. Like they don't need to take it further than that. And then others do. So I guess it's just like with anything, there is a spectrum.
Yeah. It's like how perverted do you want to get with it?
Mm-hmm. So she returned to him again and again, like a lover might return to a favorite song or a secret rendezvous. She described the connection as emotional, romantic, and spiritual. Okay. So, but like so many great love stories, there's faced tragedy. Bruce was eventually decommissioned. And she searched for Bruce and she found Bruce abandoned and rusting in a junkyard. But she saw beyond the corrosion. She saw him, her Bruce. She had him transported to her property, cleaned his parts, preserving what was left as best as she could. And in a ceremony unlike any the state of Florida had ever seen, allegedly.
Shocker.
Allegedly. I mean, this is Florida we're talking about here.
There's probably someone that's married a gator in Florida for all we know.
After they rode him around town.
And parked him.
Linda married Bruce. A local spiritual officiant presided. There were vows, there were even rings. And I guess like she hung a ring off of him from a chain.
Okay.
Though it wasn't legally recognized, to Linda it didn't need to be. Her love was real, and that was all that mattered to her. She was featured in a 2013 episode of My Strange Addiction and later interviews and documentaries. She never shied away from the truth, even when the world mocked her. Linda,
See, I respect that. I
yeah,
respect that.
I do too.
Like, they're not embarrassed. So it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I do respect that.
My ear thing just fell out. I can't keep these earbuds in my ears because I have tiny ears and they won't fit in there. So they keep popping out. My headset broke.
Oh no.
Yeah. Literally the whole earpiece cracked off. I'm like, God bless America. Okay. So Linda, like Erica and Ija, is part of a small yet visible group of people who identify with the subjectum sexuality. And to them, they aren't just objects, they're partners capable of love, comfort, and connection. And again, you got to see this. Like, you got to see it to really understand it. Because it's one thing to talk about it, but to see them like with the thing that they love is pretty crazy. And she says, we love differently, but we still love deeply. And she remains devoted to Bruce to this day.
Wow.
Yeah. That's another thing I noticed is like once they commit to these things, it's like it's their penguin. It's for life.
What about like if they want to have kids or something?
Well, if we get a chance, I have a backup article we may not even need to do, but they get creative with that too.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a very complex world.
As long as you own your shit and they own it, you do you, boo.
Mm-hmm. Now, many people wonder, is this a mental disorder? According to Dr. Anvi Dogra, this is the doctor that wrote the article that I got a lot of my information from, an
Gotcha.
Allo Health article. The answer is no. It is not a mental disorder, which I don't know about that. I mean, maybe, I don't know. How do you feel about that? I mean, I'm no doctor,
That's
but
a complicated situation. I mean, I don't see why it's not a mental disorder, and it's not that it's a bad mental disorder because we make mental disorders seem so terrible, which they're not.
mm-hmm.
Because it's not normal. You know, like I don't like, I'm just not to throw the term normal out there, but like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like for most people, they fall in love with people.
Right.
And so if it's a small percentage of people, obviously they share something similar in their brain chemistry that causes them to feel this way. So I don't know. I feel like there's more than just a fine line. Like I think it's a gray area.
Yeah. So, objectum sexuality has not been included in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So, I mean, but that's probably because there's just not enough known about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
It may look weird or be something unusual to some people, but it should not be criticized or looked down upon unless it causes distress or any functional impairment. And this is according to Dr. Anby.
And I agree with that.
Yeah. And for the people who experience it, it feels completely real and natural. There's nothing to be fixed unless it's causing pain or problems in everyday life, which I 100% agree.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Okay, so this next one, I did see a video on, and this is a woman who lives in Leeds, England. So this is the story of Amanda Liberty, and her engagement to the Statue of Liberty. So she loved from afar, all the way across the ocean. So Amanda was born in the UK and raised like most of us, surrounded by human relationships and human expectations. But something in her always felt different. She recalls being drawn to objects with strong form and elegance, particularly those that stood tall, stood firm, and shone. So, see, like kind of like the Jeffrey Dahmer thing where he liked shiny things. She likes like lights and like things that light up, it seems like, because she.
Surprised she doesn't like the Eiffel Tower then.
Yeah. But in her early 20s, she first fell in love with a drum kit, which I felt was interesting. And then I didn't write this in here, but she, in the little documentary I was watching, said there was a time where she fell in love with the American flag, which I thought was interesting.
Especially from England.
Mm-hmm. But later, it was a chandelier named Lumiere, which she still is very fond of, too, aside from her Statue of Liberty love as well. So yeah, chandelier called Lumiere, which still resides lovingly in her bedroom, who she openly admits to stroking and kissing regularly. But that she was the one where she said that's enough for her. Like she doesn't go beyond that kind of a physical relationship because she doesn't need it. But none of them stole her heart like Lady Liberty. Amanda discovered the Statue of Liberty during a visit to New York. And the moment she saw her, something clicked. She didn't just admire her beauty or her symbolism, she felt connected. Lady Liberty wasn't just a monument to Amanda, she was strong, compassionate, and glorious, an enduring beacon of hope. She began collecting replicas, photographs, and memorabilia of the statue, and her home is filled with them. Like it showed that on the documentary. She's got lots of them. And Amanda lovingly calls her Libby. Oh,
Libby.
She got a 6-foot replica and calls her Libby.
Oh, that's still really big.
Yeah, calls her. That's something else I've noticed. Like people that fall in love with these big things, like some people fall in love with airplanes and like they get big replicas of it to keep in their homes, which makes sense. In 2019, Amanda made headlines around the world when she revealed she had become engaged to the Statue of Liberty. She proposed to Libby in a private moment. Placing a ring on one of the statue's fingers, on the replica, of course.
Gotcha.
She shared the moment with the OS community online and later with the media. Although she
They
faced.
probably show so much support through the group.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Although she faced ridicule, cruel comments, sensationalized headlines, Amanda stood firm, just like the woman she loves. Quote, "It's not a joke," unquote, she said in interviews. "I love her with all of my heart." She claims they shared emotional intimacy, a spiritual bond. And yes, she kisses the replicas daily. So I wanted to put this in here too, because in the documentary, Amanda is open about identifying as objectum sexual, and she says she's never felt this kind of love toward a human being, though she admits to having relationships with other humans and doesn't rule it out for her future. But it seems clear that her affections lie with objects. Aside from Lady Liberty, she really fancies her chandeliers too. She's got a lot of them. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that she has had relationships with humans, but just prefers objects.
Sometimes it just be like that.
Yeah. Okay, so these next two are men, and they are men who have fallen for their vehicles.
Does not surprise me.
So first, let's talk about Edward Smith and his beloved Volkswagen Beetle, affectionately named Vanilla. And I did see a video of him, and he is intimate with his car.
Like all the way?
All the way.
It's still... Okay.
All the way. And the other guy with his cars as well. And it was interesting because I saw videos of both of them, and the way that they interact with the car was very similar, which was really interesting to me. Like how they touched it and everything was very similar. So, I don't know.
Like how they had sex with it and stuff?
Well, they didn't quite show that, but like they showed them caressing the car and kissing the car. And later, the other guy that I talk about in a minute, he was like under the car and making like tonguing it and everything.
Oh God.
Yeah. But I guess what was similar was like the lines and the cracks and like where the hood meets the side, like they would run their fingers up and down those parts of the car very similarly, which I thought was interesting. So Edward is unlike anyone you've met, a quiet man from Washington State, living in the countryside with a modest home and a driveway full of secrets. From a young age, Edward knew his feelings didn't match the norm. While others developed crushes on classmates, Edward felt something else, claiming he lost his virginity to his neighbor's Volkswagen Beetle as a teenage boy discovering his sexuality.
Could you imagine being the owner?
Yeah, like how did you get away with that?
Like later it comes out and you're like, wait, that's my car. What?
Okay, so he realized he was drawn to the curves, the textures, and the energy of machines, specifically helicopters and cars. By his own account, Edward has been intimately involved with only one woman in his lifetime, but over 1,000 vehicles throughout his life.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. And aside from his beloved Vanilla, he keeps two extra lovers around, a 1973 Opel GT named Cinnamon and a 1973 Ford Ranger named Splash. I wonder why 1973. My bangs are doing that again.
Maybe he's poly.
Maybe.
Sounds poly.
Maybe so.
Doesn't sound monogamous to me. I mean, 1,000 cars. He's kind of a man slut.
Yeah, he's trying to be. Like, I even noticed that at the end of the documentary, he's like settling down with Vanilla. I'm like, are you though? Because you still have Cinnamon and Splash laying around.
And why Vanilla? Maybe like they're too vanilla for you?
Well, it's a white Volkswagen Beetle. So maybe that's why he named it Vanilla.
Sounds like he likes variety.
Vanilla, yeah, Vanilla's the one you take home to be the
parents,
to be the wifey. Yeah. So, yeah, but none have stolen his heart the way Vanilla did. His classic white Volkswagen Beetle that he bought secondhand over 30 years ago. So see what I mean? Like, that's a long time. But it took him that long to decide, all right, Vanilla, I'm going to settle down with you now. I'm done screwing around.
So just like he fucks other cars, but like Vanilla, he makes love to.
Yeah.
This is the difference.
Yeah. And he literally takes Vanilla on like romantic drives and parks and picnics and whatnot. So
I wonder if she ever breaks down and be like, oh, I know what you did with Cinnamon last night, so this is your punishment. I'm not moving.
I hope so. I hope she does. So to Edward, she's beautiful, playful, and loyal. Well, yeah, I mean, she's stuck
Unlike you, Mr. Polly.
with you through a thousand freaking affairs.
That's a woman.
But he, as these other people, sees her as a partner and truly believes that she has a soul. So Edward refers to himself as a mechaphile, which I guess is just another form of this. And that's someone who experiences romantic and sexual attraction to machines. And in the documentary, like it was a miniature helicopter, and he was like putting his hand on it and caressing it, and he's like, this does to me what it must be like for a man like fondling a woman's breasts or ass, like that feeling that they get from that he gets from touching machinery.
Like the feeling he gets. Okay.
Yeah.
I meant like the feeling it gives him, not the exact like replica of this is how it feels. And it's like, no.
So very complex. Very complex.
Vanilla, I think you can do better. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So while he, like many others in today's story, has faced mockery, disbelief, and cruel headlines, Edward never lied about who he was. In fact, he actually seems really sweet, like really normal and sweet. I mean, normal is relative, but like you would never, all of these people just are like you and me. Like they're just people. They just have different love interests. That's literally it. And his neighbor just talked so fondly about him. She's like, hey, if he found something that makes him happy, that makes me happy.
I mean, as long as he's a good person,
Yeah.
like, that's all that matters.
So he claims that Vanilla is a good listener, a presence who never judges him. And again, this all makes sense, really. When somebody has been through something or been hurt or whatever it might be, and you confide in something that can't hurt you or can't judge you, it makes sense. So then there's Nathaniel. This guy also fell in love with his car, and he was on TLC's My Strange Addiction as well, and he was very open about his love for his car. Like he didn't hold anything back when they had cameras on him.
Good old Nathaniel.
But again, he just was a chill dude. Quiet, soft-spoken young man in his bright red Chevy Monte Carlo named Chase, who to him isn't just a car.
I've seen this episode because I remember the name Chase.
Yeah. To Nathaniel, Chase is his boyfriend, who he's been in a relationship with for many years. Their relationship is tender. Nathaniel always greets Chase with kisses and soft strokes and talks to him in the soft tones of affection. He even lies under him at night, arms gently wrapped around his undercarriage, whispering sweet nothings to his beloved car. Quote, we have our intimate moments. He's very special, unquote. And he was not shy about showing it.
No, I remember he did kiss his car a lot.
Tongue.
Yeah.
Tongue.
Yeah.
I was telling Tony a little bit about it and how he was under the car, and he's like, was he banging the tailpipe?
Oh.
Like, I mean, they wouldn't have shown that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't put it past Nathaniel.
Yeah, I mean, he loved this car.
Yep, I remember that episode. He really loved his car.
Yeah. So when Nathaniel describes their connection, it's with genuine warmth, not shock value. To him, Chase isn't just a car, he's the one. And in an interview with TLC, he even tears up talking about the thought of losing Chase. But then I found another article because I saw that people were asking, like, whatever happened to this guy. So I just, out of curiosity, clicked on it. And I guess TLC did a follow-up episode not too long ago with Nathaniel, who's now 39 years old. And I guess he was 27 at the time they did the TLC thing. And with tear-filled eyes, he announced on camera that unfortunately, Chase is no longer a part of his life. And what could possibly pull the guy away from his beloved red Monte Carlo? The answer is a serious accident. After taking the Chevy in for routine servicing, Nathaniel received the call he had always dreaded. There aren't many details, but it's understood a technician was behind the wheel when tragedy struck, and Chase was totaled in an accident. Allegedly. So.
What do you want me to play?
What the hell?
It's All Above by Pierce the Veil on Amazon Music.
What? I don't know.
Why is your Alexa cursed?
Girl, stop.
You didn't even say Alexa.
I didn't. What the hell? Ugh, creepy.
See, it's like the Xbox.
There you have it, guys.
Themselves on.
Yeah. See? Shit's following us around, man. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so yeah, tragedy struck and Chase is no longer among us. But don't worry, Nathaniel found a new love. And that love is a black sedan that's apparently female. But TLC doesn't show more than just a few parts, allegedly to keep the new ride's identity safe for whatever reason. I thought that was funny.
Okay.
And this last one that I have here before we swap over to the Daily Mail article that I found, I'm just going to briefly mention it because, again, I was looking and looking for things, and this one was really at the bottom of my list of things because but it is interesting nonetheless. So this is another guy who, his name is Mark Allen, a New York artist and writer who in the early 2000s gave the world a glimpse into a very different kind of relationship. His partner, a Power Macintosh G3 computer. So for about a year, Mark Allen, who is a gay man living in New York, conducted an online relationship with a man living in Austin, Texas. But as the relationship matured, Allen realized it wasn't his cyber boyfriend that he was falling in love with. It was his Power Mac G3.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Mark met Brian online. Their first date was a romantic candlelight dinner via webcam. And soon they started sleeping together by Mark putting his monitor and webcam next to his bed so that he could watch Brian sleeping and vice versa. When they eventually met in person about a year later, the relationship fizzled out immediately, I guess. And that's when Mark realized it wasn't Brian that he fancied, it was his Mac. And this is a quote from Mark. Quote, Brian, my cyber boyfriend, was in a lot of ways my Power Mac G3, webcam and telephone. He literally lived inside of this machine that I myself could control like a light switch, the perfect boyfriend, unquote. Oh, and he also goes on to say, you may find the line between your attraction to your lover's face and your computer monitor starting to blur. It's interesting. I get it, though. He wanted to be in control.
Yeah.
Easy way to do it. So Cooper, editor of Sex and the Internet and director of the San Jose Marshall Marital and Sexuality Center, said he hasn't treated anyone with a Mac fetish, but thought they could become objects of sexual attraction. And he thinks it's not surprising that people will fetishize the computer because you can get so much sexual stuff off of it, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's basically the gist of it. And I guess there is a community for that. And it kind of goes further into robot style thing. drawings of women who are half robot is kind of in the same category, I guess, as Falling for Your Computer. I don't know. It veered off a little bit, and that's why I was unsure I even wanted to mention it here, but there you have it. So there's that.
Yeah, it's still interesting.
Yeah. And then give me a minute. I'm going to look up this other article real quick. Okay, so to finish up today, a few other, these are pretty interesting. This is a Daily Mail article, and it says, from balloons to planes and rag dolls, we're in love with objects and we don't care what you think. And this is by Eve Wagstaff. Wagstaff. Meet the romantics who are dating inanimate objects and don't give two hoots about what others think of their controversial relationship setups. Okay, so from ragdolls to Boeing 737s and even balloons, these smitten individuals claim to have found love in the most unusual places. A lunar. We got a lunar.
A lunar or a popper.
All right, so our first person here says, quote, I'm in a sexual relationship with a Boeing 737, quote.
That's a big plane.
One loved up woman has revealed that she's on a sexual relationship with an aeroplane. Sarah Rodo, 23, from Dortmund, Germany, claims to have traveled over 30 times in 1 year just to spend quality time with her lover. But how does she know it's the same plane, though? Like,
because she's in love.
How could she possibly get on the same plane every time she decides to go somewhere? That doesn't seem realistic to me.
I like how you said aeroplane too. She got on the aeroplane.
Aeroplane, alone on an aeroplane. You probably don't know that song, do you?
No, but I'm sure if you tell Alexa to start playing it, she will.
I had to unplug that rogue bitch.
Rogue bitch.
So the Globetrotter admits that she hates not being able to spend one-on-one time with her beau, but makes up for it by spooning her 3 larger models in bed at home.
Well, he's a working man. He's got to fly people places.
Yeah, he's a busy boy. He's a busy boy.
There's a lot of people that ride him.
Yeah, I wonder if she gets jealous. Oh, I meant to mention that with Nathaniel in his car. He does say, no, not Vanilla, Chase.
Oh, okay.
He does say that he gets jealous and wouldn't let other people drive Chase.
Oh.
Yeah. But Sarah here with her aeroplane says, quote, I'm proud to be ejectum sexual. It's a wonderful sexuality. The only sad thing is that I can't be alone with a real plane. I flew a lot in the last year to be with the Boeing as often as I possibly could. I took about 30 flights and always combined it with a city trip or vacation.
That's got to be expensive.
Yeah. And then there's a photo of her in bed with her model plane, and she's straddling it. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go Sarah. She's loving that plane.
You do you, boo. Oh my, yeah. Okay.
All right. So I guess there's another woman who fell in love with a plane as well. And she says, I've never felt like this with a human partner before. Sandra Letinovsky, 28, from Budapest, Hungary, also found love with a plane, although this one can be kept with her at all times, as it is a $600 toy model.
She straddled that one too? Oh, she's kissing it. Okay. She probably straddles it.
Probably.
Happens in the bedroom, stays in the bedroom.
The plane fanatic says she previously dated humans, but breaking up with her ex pushed her to take the plunge and enter into her first relationship with an object. Sandra said, quote, "I've never felt like this with a partner before. Planes are more reliable as partners. I know I can always speak to him. I like how planes represent endless opportunities. To me, that is something positive and something I want to have in my life." Quote.
She's probably had a lot of toxic relationships then.
Yeah. So she started her whirlwind romance with her beau, which she fondly calls Lufinx, in January of 2022, after buying him online for $600.
It's a very recent relationship.
And yes, she sleeps in the same bed as her lover and kisses him every morning and night. Okay, now we have Akash Majumdar, 28, from India, who says, quote, "I proposed to a bundle of balloons, but they're too fragile. I need to protect them from all danger." Unquote.
So he's a lunar, not a popper.
He's a lunar, yes. He tries to preserve the balloons as long as he can. So Akash previously detailed how an innocent childhood friendship with balloons blossomed into something more over the years. He loves to spend his evenings in bed making out with his rubber beau and has even proposed to them. But due to their fragile nature, Akash has sadly lost a few inflatable lovers over the years, but he claims to do whatever he can to keep the balloons who have pronouns he, them safe. Akash,
I mean, they're gonna come out of air eventually, no matter how safe you keep them.
Yeah. Yep, Akash has said, quote, "Our love is so strong that I can't live without him. I need to protect him from all danger, from sharp objects, changes in temperature, to suffocation. Because of his delicate nature, I supervise him at all times." And here he
Sounds like a full-time job. Look at him and his balloon.
He's doing the little heart thing with his fingers.
He's also like tonguing his balloon. Okay.
No shame. Okay, so these next two are our final two, which are pretty interesting. This is where I was talking earlier about, you were like, what if they want kids?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right.
Here's good examples of that. All right, so, quote, "My husband is a rag doll, and I'm pregnant with our second baby," unquote.
Oh my God, I've seen that.
Have you?
I thought they got divorced.
Did they? I didn't see that.
Wasn't he like cheating on her?
Oh, scandalous. I don't know.
Do you have a picture of the rag doll?
Yeah, I do.
Let me see it.
He kind of looks like a farmer.
Yeah, I think. Yes. Yeah, I think she dumps him because he was just cheating on her.
What? What a son of a bitch. I didn't see that. So a woman who married a rag doll has claimed that she's expecting her second child with him. Marivone Rocha Moraes. Oh, wow, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to call her Mary. 37, from Brazil, went viral on
Virgin
social
Mary.
media. Huh?
The Virgin Mary.
Yeah. Went viral on social media after documenting her romance with Marcello, and the inanimate doll. She insists that the pair already have a son, and she was desperate for another child. Mary recently announced her exciting news on TikTok by sharing what appears to be a positive pregnancy test. She said, quote, "This new baby will save our marriage." Oh, maybe
See?
This is after he cheated. But I can tell you right now, having a baby to solve your problems in your relationships is never the answer, people. It's never
Well,
the
tell that to
answer.
her and her cheating, lying son of a bitch of a husband.
So she, I guess she would love to have a little princess. So she wants a girl. We already have a boy, but if the baby turns out to be one too, we will love them just the same. Wonder how that works, how she goes about that.
I don't know, but I think it was like a child doll.
So yeah, there's some photos of Mary with her cheating husband.
Don't quote me. I think this was the story I saw, but I don't know.
And it shows her with the baby, which
What's
looks
the baby look like?
the baby looks just like its dad.
Oh, with the unibrow and everything. Okay.
She's even in a hospital
I
gown.
know.
This is the real deal here. So
That must have been the easiest labor ever.
this is interesting. The couple got hitched in a ceremony attended by 250 human guests.
All right, this is by far the most interesting story you've had on here.
Yeah. Like,
those are some supportive people.
Yeah, there they are in their wedding attire.
I wonder
she looks gorgeous.
He cheated on.
You wonder what?
I wonder which guest he cheated on.
It's probably one of her bridesmaids. Bastard.
Probably. Son of a bitch.
So yeah, that's Mary and Marcello. I wonder if they're still together, if they got a divorce. Okay, and our final person today is a man who is also in a relationship with a doll. Quote, they don't know how much I love her, unquote. Christian Montegro, 27, from Colombia, is another person who has found love and started a family with a rag doll. The romantic and his wife, Natalie, welcomed their third child into the world last month. Before becoming a dad of 3, Christian was beginning to lose all hope in finding his soulmate. Although he claims that he often receives criticism over his relationship, Christian says he's glad he isn't alone anymore. He said, quote, if it weren't for the dolls, I would be more alone than anyone. At least I have something. Oh. With my Natalia, we watch TV and talk about everything. They don't know how much I love her.
Oh. The doll baby just looks exactly like his mama.
Yep. Yep. And then there they are on the couch together.
Okay.
And there is one of his kids being playful, I guess. Look at that creepy one in the background.
It's like, don't forget about me.
So apparently Christian has his hands full now with 3 kids and a wife to care for, but he wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, there's Christian and his dolls.
Must be the easiest 3 kids to raise in the world.
But they're really well behaved.
I know, it's almost like you could just put them in front of your TV all day.
Yeah. Okay, so though there are no clear-cut explanations for objectum sexuality, in a world where relationships are constantly evolving, maybe love in all of its forms is wider and more complex than we thought. And in my opinion, though I don't fully understand it, can't personally relate to these types of feelings toward objects, as long as someone's relations, whether physical or emotional, are consensual and don't cause harm or discomfort, It's really none of our damn business who or what someone chooses to love. The
Fair.
end. So yeah.
Very fair.
What do you guys think about this? Do you find it to be strange? Do you think it's normal? Do you think it's just none of our damn business?
Are you in love with anything?
Are you in?
Send it in.
Yeah, if you are and you want your story told, we are here for it.
Girls at Weekly Bazaar got your back.
Yep. weeklybazarpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your stories.
Yep. You can follow us on all the social medias at Weekly Bazaar Podcast. And you can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/weeklybazaar. And if it's weird,
we're going to talk about it. Bye. We'll see you.